Welcome to Inside the Honors College, where we believe that wisdom and virtue is found when we learn together. Join us as we take an inside look at a community dedicated to educating the next generation of disciples and scholars. I'm your co-host, Taina Estevez.
And I'm Ellie Overman.
And for this conversation, we talked to one of my favorite people, Eliana. She was just able to provide a really cool international perspective that I really enjoy. I could sit and listen to her talk about that, honestly, forever. She's really cool, really dynamic speaker, and I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I love Elle. She's just so fun to talk to. So I really enjoyed this interview specifically. She has this kind of spontaneous artistic spirit that's just kind of contagious. And so she kind of talks at the beginning about how she had low standards for the Honors College, which is just not something I hear very often, and how her perspective has just like drastically changed. And so I thought that was so unique and interesting.
Absolutely. I completely forgot about the low standards part that she had there too. That blew my mind just from our own experiences with honors as well. So I can't wait for everyone to get to listen to her and her beautiful story. So let's get to it.
Oh my goodness. Hi, friend. It is so good to see you. How are you?
You too, Ellie.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm trying to recover from getting back into school, and my sleep schedule definitely suffered during spring break, but we're getting back into it.
Yeah. It's a real struggle. Guys, I wish you could see Elle today. She's like decked out in green. It's St. Patrick's Day and she looks amazing.
I must. It's the day that we celebrate green, my favorite color, so we have to go all out.
Go big or go home. Yeah, so let's hop right into our icebreaker question. So for you guys who don't know Elle, she has lived all over the world. So I was wondering how that has shaped like your honors college experience and how you approach honors texts.
Well, here's the deal is that because I've lived internationally and I've gone to boarding schools and things like that, I haven't had as many opportunities in the realm of being able to study these texts and being able to take AP classes that really look into the great texts that we study here in honors. And so for me, it was kind of nerve-wracking going into this program because I felt like I didn't really know anything. At least that's what I was worried about. But because of my international experience, I've actually discovered that I can look at these texts with fresh eyes because I haven't studied them before, and that a lot of people also haven't studied them before. And I can bring a unique perspective of like, you know, being able to step outside of my own thoughts, step outside of the thoughts that a lot of people have inside of our colloquies and in our discussions, and in that sense, just bring other perspectives that people might not see or understand as an international student and as an American student living internationally. So, yeah.
Right. That is super cool and such fresh insight. I'm sure I'm stoked to be in a colloquy with you at some point and kind of hear.
I can't wait either, Ellie.
your point of view. That actually sets us up really nicely for the first question. So, like, how did you hear about the Honors College and what made you decide to want to be part of it?
Oh, man. So my current roommate, who we're not rooming with each other, it's just like, that's what we call each other.
Yeah.
She actually recommended it to me because I put in my little bio on the APU 2024 introduction page that you started, Ellie. I said, I might be majoring in honors humanities. And I actually wasn't thinking about doing that at all. I just put it in there because it was a possibility. My financial aid counselor was like, so if you want a $1,000 scholarship, like you could do this. And so I was like, okay, sure, I guess maybe, but I wasn't actually thinking about it. And then my roommate suggested, she was like, hey, maybe you should do this. And I was like, okay, sure. There wasn't really a reason for me not to. And so I did it as like if this doesn't work out, I can drop it after the first semester and it's not really going to matter.
Yeah.
So I had low standards and I wasn't actually thinking about it. But now that I'm in the honors college, like, wow. After that first semester, I was like, I'm not minoring. I am majoring. I am staying with this program. The $1,000 scholarship like means hardly anything to me now. It's just such a great trade-off, first of all, taking honors classes and getting an honors, major or an honors minor on top of not having to take a bunch of gen eds. that's an awesome trade-off. And like the community that I've been able to build even just online with all of my honors friends, like y'all are all that I have. Let me be honest, I don't have friends in my other majors, but you guys are enough. You guys are great. So I'm really grateful for that. And I honestly can't remember what your question was. I kind of went off.
Totally okay. It's so cool that you joined kind of spontaneously. Like it was sort of just on a whim. I'm so glad you're a part of honors. You contribute so much, so I'm so glad you're here. So
Ellie,
I'm serious. So like being a part of the honors college, how has that shaped how you've grown as a scholar this semester so far?
so much. Okay, can I tell you, when they told us, okay, you're gonna read The Prince for the summer before, I was like, what? I'm supposed to annotate this thing? Like, what does annotating a book even mean? I think it was my first time ever writing in a book when I read The Prince, and I just had no idea how to go about doing it. And so just in my semester and a half that I've had in the honors college, I've learned so much about annotating my books, first of all, and how to read the texts with an open mind, and how to read them in order to be able to discuss them with others. It's never really something I've done with a text, especially not texts like The Prince and Erasmus and Aristotle and Plato. So it's really grown me, especially since I told you, I didn't hardly take any AP classes. I took AP Lang and I took AP Calc AB. So yeah, I was worried about not being enough, not being smart enough, not being able to contribute to discussions, nothing, but that was proved wrong in the first few weeks of being in the honors college, and I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about writing. It's developed me a lot as a person and as a scholar, like I'm telling you. And I don't know, I would just say, like, don't be afraid to do the honors college just because you don't know anything, because I definitely was one of those people who didn't know anything, and now I feel like I'm in such a better place. And even just after I look back at how I annotated The Prince, girl, it's not it. It's not it. But that's the beautiful thing with the honors college, is that you learn and you grow as you're going, and you're learning with other people. And it's not like I was the only one who was coming in like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah.
Definitely not. That is so cool. And like now you get to look back and be like, holy cow, I wrote a whole portfolio. Like you just have this collection to like watch and see how you've grown as a scholar. That's super cool to document. How has like how you annotate, you kind of mentioned that like how you annotated The Prince is not how you annotate now. What's changed?
Oh, I think when I annotated The Prince, and even when I read The Prince, I had no idea what I was reading for. They had in an email, they said that there were a few like prompt questions that you should be looking to answer. But I didn't understand what it meant to be in a colloquy and what it looked like to discuss with other people. And so now after experiencing those colloquies, I know that I need to look for things that I have questions about, things that really make me think, things that, make me underline it and star it and highlight it, and really, write questions down in my margins of my book and say, is this what he's trying to say? What about this? What about that? Like really questioning the text, and just being super, for me, it's helpful as an art major to be super tactile with my text and just write all over it, circle a bunch of words, and being able to flip through that, like when I'm writing my commonplace books and writing my papers, is super helpful because I get to see where I was in my thought processes as I was reading the book. And I think that's the most important thing, is just annotate as much as you can. Anything that comes to your head, write it down. If you feel like starring it for no reason, just do it. So that's what I do.
Wow, I love that. How has being an art major shaped kind of how you approach the text? Is there a lot of overlap there or not so much?
In my first semester, I didn't find a whole lot of overlap because I was taking basic drawing and 2D design classes. But this semester, I chose to take a women in art history class. And I think that has contributed a lot more to the way that I'm viewing the text, because it addresses bigger questions rather than just like, oh, what is the color wheel? Let's talk about color theory and why purple doesn't exist.
Oh my goodness. That's another rant. Yeah.
Yeah. But, talking about how women and minorities in general have been portrayed through art, and being able to observe those patterns throughout history has also helped me, like through history and art has also helped me observe some of those patterns in our great works, and how, I don't know. It hasn't emerged too much because I haven't even done too much with art, but I'm assured that it will definitely come up a lot, and just being able to apply honors principles to my artwork has also been something that I've really enjoyed, and I look forward to doing more of in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of like what you make out of all of it, because you're so visual, and I think that is such a gift when you're approaching these like really dense, heavy things, is to be able to take that and make it into something that like can be grasped and looked at and is beautiful, I guess. So I think that's just super cool. So kind of transitioning, since you've like had all of these experiences with honors and you're kind of like learning so much, if you were talking to a prospective student about the honors college, what advice would you give them?
All right. Well, when I was a prospective student in the honors college, I guess I wasn't thinking about the honors college, but I was living in Kenya. I was overseas, and time zones were difficult, and signing up for things was difficult. So I don't know, going through the process of applying to the honors college, like I told you, and even just applying to APU in general was really passive for me, and I didn't really think about what I was going to be doing. I decided to major in humanities because it was $1,000 scholarship, and why not? I decided to major in art because I got a scholarship for that, so why not? And so I guess the advice that I would give is it's okay to not really know what you're doing and to go where you're feeling called to go. And so for me, I felt called to go to APU. I've wanted to go there ever since my parents were telling me about APU and their time here. So yeah, and it's okay to not have a major. It's okay to feel like your major doesn't really fit you. But especially with the honors college, I feel like it creates a space for you to be able to kind of figure that out. And I know that I'm in a better place and I'm better oriented as an honors college student than I would have been if I was just an APU student and trying to figure out my major. So it's okay to not know in that respect. But honors is definitely, that's a yes. Just apply to honors. I'm not even joking you.
Right and
now. Yeah, just do it. Just submit that application. The application honestly isn't that hard either. I turned in an assignment, like a paper for my junior year in high school. Like I hadn't written an essay for like 2 years when I applied to honors college. So I guess that's my advice. Also, like, all of the honors professors are great, so don't worry about picking the wrong professor, but check out Rate My Professor if you're wondering. And come to colloquy and just give yourself to your colloquy. Like, they're your friends, they're your peers. Be vulnerable. Say what's on your mind. Don't worry about being dumb. Nobody's going to really judge you for that. This is where you're going to find the best community, your best friends. Your professors are going to be your mentors. Marcia Berry, isn't that scary? Don't worry about her.
You got it.
And yeah, reach out to, like, upperclassmen, your mentors, all of that. Those are going to be super helpful tools for when you're transitioning into APU. And transitions are hard. I know that because I've transitioned a lot as an international student, going to boarding school, all of that stuff. And so it's okay to, like, be homesick and all of that stuff. Seriously, just reach out to people, ask for help, go to counseling, go to free therapy.
This is all such excellent advice, you guys. Like, take notes. Like, pull out your little note section on your phone and just jot it down really quickly, because this is all so wise and so good. Well, Elle, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today and for sharing kind of your experience. I'm just like so grateful that you're here and part of the honors college, and that I get to know you through the honors college. Like, what a gift that is.
Yeah, truly. And I mean, Ellie, I've loved getting to know you. Also, this is another little thing. Apply to the Dean's Cabinet if you're seriously thinking about it, because Ellie and I are both on the Dean's Cabinet, and I applied for the same reason. My roommate was like, "Are you applying to the Dean's Cabinet?" I was like, "Sure, I guess." And so I applied, and it's one of the best things that I've done. And so I would also encourage you, especially prospective students, if you're unsure, just do it. It's a good experience.
A lot of excellent promo for the Honors College.
Honestly,
I'm a big fan.
Talk to me. I will promo like anybody for the Honors College. I love this place so much.
It's a good spot to be. Well, I will let you get back to your day. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you, Ellie.
I absolutely loved this conversation with Elle. I think her whole part on just why not was something that really resonated with me. I find myself being the thing that holds myself back a lot of the times. So I think just hearing just why not, why not join honors? Why not join the Dean's Cabinet? And just all the opportunity, conversation, experience that Elle was able to get from that was super cool. It was one of my favorite parts for sure. I mean, although, to be fair, my real favorite part was the conversation about art that she was having. I love Elle's art. And as a fellow creative acting, not she's an acting major, but as an acting major in the creative field, I think it's so fun to get that perspective on just the visual components of a lot of the things that we're learning through in these texts, I find myself thinking about the characters that we're reading and like, what would I need to do to personalize for this? How would I portray this on my stage? Or if I'm making a movie, how would this look? And I'd be able to convey those ideas, experiences that these authors are wanting to talk about and still have them in authentic ways. And I think the visual component that Elle has in her life and how she can apply that to honors is so, so cool. And I could honestly listen to that forever. I think it's one of my favorite parts of this conversation for sure.
Right. Me as well. I thought it was amazing. I remember meeting Elle virtually about a year ago, actually, on Instagram. And she shared, if I remember correctly, some of her art with me. And I remember just being blown away. And now I've gotten to kind of like work alongside her through the Dean's Cabinet and see the art she makes there and see the art she's made for her portfolio. And then getting to have this like conversation with her about how art shapes how she approaches these texts. It's just been such a privilege and an honor to know her. So I'm super grateful for her perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned at the beginning how like she has that spontaneous spirit, and I think that provides so much insight, that can just be really applicable to a lot of the stuff that honors students, and not only honors students, but just students in general go through in a lot of our lives. So thank you, Elle, for having that conversation with us, and thanks to you all for taking an inside look at a community dedicated to educating the next generation of disciples and scholars. See you next time on Inside the Honors College.